南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。
Homage to the great means expensive Buddha's Flower Adornment Sutra and the Oceanic Flower Adornment Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。
The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma. It is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of eons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it. I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning.
正身端坐，当愿众生作菩提座，心无所着。
When sitting upright and proper, I vow that living beings will sit on the Bodhi seat and be without any attachment in their minds.
结跏趺坐，当愿众生善根坚固，得不动地。
When sitting in the full lotus posture, I vow that living beings will have solid roots and attain the ground of stillness.
听讲经时，当愿众生顺佛所说，总持不忘。
When I listen to the sutra lecture, I vow that living beings will accord with what the Buddha says and unite with and uphold it without forgetting any.
诸佛菩萨、师父上人、各位善知识，今天是公元2022年6月15日，星期三。
Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, Dhamma Masters, and all good knowing advisors, all means hopeful. It is Wednesday night, June 15th, 2022.
我们继续研究发菩提愿。
We continue to study how to make Bodhi vows.
有这堂课呢，是因为之前还没讲之前，有人提问几个问题哈，就是大家现在看到的如何发愿呢？拜忏的时候啊，为何发愿很重要啊？可以发跟菩萨同样的愿吗？就是因为这些问题，所以我们就讲了发菩提愿的主题。
The reason why we have this lecture series is because during the repentance session, someone had asked how to make vows, and why is it important to make vows when we repent? And the third question was, can you make the same vows as Bodhisattvas? So because of these questions we receive, that's why we have this topic in our lecture.
我们如果是来跟上人学佛法的话，一定要真的是要学三大部经的《华严经》《法华经》跟《楞严经》。
If we come to learn the Buddha Dharma with Venerable Master, we really have to study the three great sutras. That's the Vatamsaka Sutra, the Lotus Sutra, and the Shurangama Sutra.
但是佛法那么浩瀚，你又这么忙，你有办法明白这三大部经的精髓吗？
But Buddha Dharma is so vast, and you're so busy. Can you really get the essence, or we call the bone marrow, of these three sutras?
我想到有一次，很多年前，大概22年有了，在一个分支道场听经的时候，听到上人讲那个六祖坛经，那当时特别入心，他讲的那个达摩祖师传法给3个人的那个故事，以前也听过，但是那一天听得特别入心，真的震撼到我的心。因为他说他传的法传给3个人，那个慧可就得到他的骨髓，然后总持比丘尼得到他的肉， 然后另外一个法师得到他的全身的骨啊。然后那时候我听了，我就有一点点吓到，我就觉得为什么会这样的呢？你先翻译。
So I remember one time, it was many years ago, I think it's been 22 years ago, I was at a branch monastery and I was listening to Venerable Master lecturing on the Sixth Patriarch Sutra. That was during the lecture time. And the Dharma really entered my heart because Venerable Master was talking about how Bodhidharma was transmitting Dharma to 3 people. That was the story. I've heard it before and it entered my heart, but that day when I heard it, I was a bit taken away because Venerable Master said when he transmitted Dharma to these 3 people, Dharma Master Hui Ke got the bone marrow of the Dharma, and Bhikshuni united and holding got the flesh. And another Dharma Master got the bone of the entire body. So when I heard this analogy, I was a bit shocked.
那我就会想到上人了，我就想，哎呀，上人你收那么多徒弟哦，我们这么多出家人跟着您出家，那您这一辈子所讲的法呢，一定也有深有浅嘛。那我说师父。那师父已经不在了嘛，1998年的事，我就心里跟上人对话，我说上人啊，你来人间哦，你讲了那么多法，我要你的骨髓。
So then, I was thinking about Venerable Master, and I thought he had so many disciples, so many people had followed him to live the home life. And of course, the Dharma he spoke there, a shallow Dharma, there is like profound Dharma. And so I was asking Venerable Master, that was 1998, so I had an internal dialogue with him. I said, Venerable Master, you have come to this world and you've spoken so much Dharma. I want the bone marrow of your Dharma.
因为只有骨髓才是真正精髓，所以我说我要的是骨髓。就这样子之后呢，慢慢我有机会讲华严经，然后又讲楞严经，法华经讲的比较少，但是我也特别喜欢法华经。
And so I said I want the bone marrow is because bone marrow is the essence. So then gradually I had opportunities to lecture on the sutras, on the Avatamsaka Sutra and also on the Shurangama Sutra. I spoke on the lotus too, but fewer opportunities, but I really like the lotus sutra.
因为当时我已经开始在研究净土法门，开始要专修净土法门，就是那一年，所以。但是听到这一段法语呢，我又会想到，那我要拿的是骨髓，然后，但是我那时候又发愿了，我要专制净土，毕命为期，发了这种愿，我就以为说我不可以再去碰别的经，我就只能讲净土法门，我就只能念阿弥陀佛，拜阿弥陀佛。然后我后来去了另外一个分支道场呢，就他们有那个道场就安排我讲楞严经，我拒绝，我不敢，因为我在想我要毕命为期，专制净土。那为什么我会发这样的愿？是因为我已经当时就是在研究那个净土圣贤录，因为也是听上人的指示，因为上人说，如果你要修净土法门的话，你可以读那个净土圣贤录，所以我那时候就每天用2个钟头读净土圣贤录，读的时候就给我看到善导大师的开示，因为善导大师哦，他是阿弥陀佛的化身，他是在唐朝时代的，然后他就在当时就特别强调万人修万人去极乐世界，但是必须要专 专念阿弥陀佛，专拜阿弥陀佛，一定万人修万人去。杂修呢，万人很难得到一二。他就这么样子强调，所以我又很相信他，因为他是阿弥陀佛的化身嘛。所以当我发自己的16条本愿的时候，我是按照上人的18大愿的开头这样子来发，但是我就又要用那个善导大师的开示来发这个愿，所以我就想我要专制净土，必命为期，所以我就影响到我在专修的那4年内呢，就不敢去讲别的经，因为怕违背自己的本愿。
Okay. So when I started to study the Pure Land Dhamma door, I was studying. It was that year, and I made vows to specialize in the cultivation of Pure Land Dharma. That was that year, because I want the bone marrow. But then I make vows that from now until the end of my life, I want to focus on the Pure Land Dharma. And I had mistakenly thought that I should not study or touch other sutras, because you can only recite Amitabha Buddha, you can only bow to Amitabha Buddha. So when I was transferred to another branch monastery, the Dhamma Master had requested me to lecture on the Shurangama Sutra. I said no, because I didn't really dare. That would be, opposing my vow, because I made this vow from now until the end of my life. I want to focus on the cultivation of the Pure Land Dharma door. Then at that time, I also studied the records of the worthy and the sages who were born in a Pure Land. So I would spend 2 hours of time studying this book. I also read Great Master Shandao's instructional talks, because he's from the Tang Dynasty. It's also the transformation body of Amitabha Buddha, and he said that you need to specifically focus on the Pure Land. Then 10,000 people cultivate, 10,000 people will be reborn. But you need to bow and you need to recite Amitabha Buddha specifically. And those who have mixed practices will, if 10,000 people cultivate, maybe 1 or 2 will be reborn in a Pure Land. And I really trusted what Great Master Shandao has said. So in my 16 vows that I made, I actually modeled that from Venerable Master's vows. And I want to also apply Great Master Shandao's instructions. From now until the end of my life, I want to specifically focus on the Pure Land Dhamma door. So that talk had influenced me, and I didn't really dare to lecture on other sutras, because I had mistakenly thought that would oppose my original vows.
就是这个了。起手十方佛给予三藏法，过去现在贤圣身为愿垂作证。弟子恒阳是果弘，我今发心不为自求人天福报，圣门圆觉乃至全称诸位菩萨，唯一最上乘发菩提心。这一段都是学上人的，然后后面这个就自己有加量。愿以法界众生同生极乐国，皆共成佛道。然后接下来这一段也是我自己写的，愿弟子一心专制净土，必命为期，能坚诚恒的尽心竭力弘扬净土法门，令见者闻者咸受感化，发菩提心，求愿往生，具三资粮，同生极乐国。
Okay, so this is one of the vows I made. I modeled Venerable Master's vows, and this first section is the same. So it says that I vow to all the Buddhas in the 10 directions, and all the Dharma in the Tripitakas, all the worthy sages and sanghas from the past until present. May you be my witness. I, disciple Heng Yang, Shi Guo Hong, I now make this resolve, not for seeking blessings of humans and heavens, not for fruition of Shravakas and those who are enlightened upon conditions, or for the fruition of Bodhisattvas who are in the position of provision teachings. I would only rely on the most supreme vehicle to resolve upon Bodhi. May all living beings in the Dharma realm and I be born in the land of ultimate bliss together and realize Buddhahood together. May I single-mindedly focus on the cultivation of Pure Land Dhamma door. From now until the end of my life, I can be firm, sincere, and persevere to proclaim the Pure Land Dhamma door. So those who see and hear will be moved and transformed, as well as resolving on Bodhi to seek rebirth in the Pure Land. They will be replete with the three provisions and be born in the land of ultimate bliss together.
好，然后呢，接着愿三宝慈悲摄受及护念弟子，令弟子身心清净无染，离诸过非，真诚无我的修行及推广念佛法门，乃至于尽此一报身，便能临终预知时至，自在往生上品上生莲胎，速得花开见佛无生忍，导驾持行广度众生，满菩提愿，愿一切求愿必获满足，十方三世一切佛一切菩萨摩诃萨摩诃般若蜜。
May the three jewels or the three treasures compassionately gather me in and support and protect a disciple, so that my body and mind will be pure without any defilements, be apart from all mistakes and problems. I would sincerely, selflessly cultivate and spread or proclaim the Dhamma door of Buddha recitation. And until this body meets its end, I will be able to know ahead of time when my end of life is. I will be able to reborn with the highest grade of the highest level of lotus, and the flower will soon open. I will see the Buddha and realize patience where no mental object arises. Reverse my compassionate bow to cross over living beings fastly to fulfill my Bodhi vows. May all the wishes and all the vows that I make will be fulfilled. All the Buddhas in the 3 periods of time and 10 directions, all the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Mahaprajna Paramita.
那时候是写上品，不敢放上品上身，上品上身是后来改的。就是说我当时写上品也不是我敢发的，就我问一些同参他们的意见，他说当然要上品吗？我们要什么都是要最好的，当然要上品。所以我就听人家的话就写上品。然后后来自己懂佛法更深了，就敢改成上品上身这样子。
Okay, so here it says the highest level of the highest grades. Originally, I didn't really dare. I originally only put the highest level of the lotus. I didn't say highest level of the highest grade because I didn't really dare. I asked one of the fellow cultivators, and she said, "Well, of course we want to be reborn in the upper grades because you know everything we want to have is the best, right? So of course we want to have the highest grade." Then much later, when I have studied more Buddha Dharma, I then changed the highest grade to be the highest level of the highest grade.
然后后来也是为什么敢放上品上身？是后来听上人在香港有一次上人回香港，带那些老居士在佛教讲堂打佛七，那个佛七开示，上人就如果你现在去佛教讲堂，你也会看到那个寄颂就是愿生西方净土中，上品莲花为父母，花开见佛悟，无生不退菩萨为伴侣。 那我们每次就是往生堂回向，我们是讲九品莲花为父母嘛哈。但是在那个开示呢，上人跟那些老人家讲法的时候，他把九品改成上品。
Okay, so one of the reasons why I dare to change the upper lotus, the upper level of the highest grade of the highest level, was from an instructional talk Venerable Master had given in Hong Kong. He was taking his more senior disciples to have Buddha recitation in the Buddhist lecture hall. And so when you go to the Buddhist lecture hall there, you can still see this verse was on the door. It says that I vow to be born in the land of ultimate bliss. The lotus of the highest grade will be my parents. When the flower opens, I will see the Buddha and awaken to the patience where non-mental objects arise. So that was that level. But that was that verse had caused me to change my the grade of lotus in my vow.
也就是因为而且我为什么会这样呢？就因为当时我听那个开示呢，那些老人家来学佛的老人家，在当时参加佛契的人，很多都还没吃素的，很多还放不下子女的。然后上人就跟他们说：“哎呀，你们要放下子女啊，不要那么执着啦，你们要发心修行啊，以后要去极乐世界啊，上品莲花为父母啊，就这样子跟他们开示。”所以我就在想。连吃素都没有吃素，为什么上人要叫他们求上品身呢？他们都儿女私情还那么重，为什么上人会对这些老人家教他们发上品的愿？那所以感觉听到这样子，我就会觉得说，应该师父是要我们既然是要求生西方，我们就是要求上品，不是像一般人这样能够去就好了啦。管他哪一品，很多人都是抱着这样的思想，就他的志愿不高，他就想我能去就好了，下品都没关系。如果你是以这样的心态来修净土法门，你一定不会发菩提心了。你是念，然后常常来发脾气啊，不高兴啊，然后贪嗔痴很重。如果你发上品心的话，你会断欲去爱，你会发菩提心的，因为你的愿力会改变你的修行啊，你的心态。所以我觉得上人虽然他知道那些老人家连吃素这么基本都做不到了，谈何容易在一辈子就可以修个几年就可以上品？怎么可能呢？虽然不可能，还是要叫人发这么最高称的愿。所以何况我们是已经出了家，我们怎么不发大愿，不发上品愿呢？只是这样我尽量修，我能修多少就多少，我能念多少大悲咒就念多少，我能念多少部经就多少部经，多少部地藏经就多少部，尽量消业障就好了。就是大家都是这样的心态来修，尽量念尽量，但是他没有想到我要取上品位。如果你要发愿取上品位，你真诚从你的心里发出来的话，你真的会突破你很多的我执跟法执、我见都会放下的。你会跳出来这个凡夫的心，真的会改变的。如果没有求取上品身的话，我们都会跟着我见我爱去修去看境界，然后也根本呢净恨品是净恨品，只是念经，但是不会用的，不会说见到人家一个语气对你不好，你就会想到不得恭敬，当愿众生不行一切不善之法。我相信很多人都做不到这一点，就不会拿来用。那净恨品只是拿来诵经用，但是不是拿来平常遇到境界我可以马上获胜妙功德的经会，很多人就不会用了。为什么我们做不到？就因为我们没有真心要取上品的莲胎的那个心。
Okay, so why is that so? Because when I heard the instructional talk from Venerable Master, there was a lot of disciples who have not even become vegetarians yet, and they still cannot let go of their sons and daughters, and Venerable Master told them to seek rebirth in the highest grade. So they still have lots of emotions, but Venerable Master teach them to, oh, you should be reborn in the land of ultimate bliss. And I was thinking they aren't even vegetarians. How can they? Why did Venerable Master teach them to seek rebirth in the highest grade? And they have really strong emotions with their family, with their children. Why did Venerable Master teach them that? So Venerable Master say that, so since Venerable Master had instructed these old disciples, these lay people who still have really aren't vegetarians or have strong emotions, to seek the highest level of lotus, then why don't we do that? Some people said, oh, as long as I can be reborn in a land of ultimate bliss, it's fine. It could be the lowest grade, that's okay. But if you have that thought, that means your aspiration is still very low. If you use this attitude to cultivate the Pure Land Dhamma door, you will be reciting the Buddha's name and reciting the Buddha's name, but then you will be reciting and you'll get angry and you would be full of greed, anger, and delusion. So if you seek rebirth in the highest level, then you will naturally cut off your desires. You will make vows. And these vows will really change our attitude. So those people who aren't even vegetarians yet, Venerable Master had also instructed them to do that. How would that be possible? How can that be possible? Well, we are monastics who have left the home life. If we don't make vows to seek rebirth in the upper grade or the highest grade, and you just think, oh, I'll just try my best. I'll just recite however much I can recite. I'll try to recite as many times as Tabejo as I can. I will recite Earth Store Sutras however many times I can. You just say you'll try your best, but you never thought about seeking rebirth in the highest level of lotus. So, that kind of thinking, that kind of practice is still not at the very high level. But if you seek rebirth in the highest grade, you will naturally follow your vows. You will be able to break attachment to self, attachment to Dharma. You will be able to jump out or leave behind your mind of being an ordinary person. Because you're seeking rebirth in the upper grade, you will be able to let go of your view of self, love for self. You won't be attaching to states, or when somebody aren't talking to you very nicely, they are impolite. Have you thought about making the vow in the Pure Conduct chapter? I think very few people put that in use. Most people just use the Pure Conduct chapter as sutra recitation. They don't really put the sutra in use in their daily life. It's because they aren't really sincere about seeking rebirth in the highest grade.
那我刚才说，在专修净土的4年内，人家叫我讲楞严经，我不敢讲，我怕违背这个愿嘛。这个愿说专制净土，必命为期嘛，哈，我就以为那就只能拜阿弥陀佛跟念阿弥陀佛，就要讲净土的经，就不敢讲楞严经。我就这么样子的肤浅的去理解这个专制净土必命为期的意义，然后一直到大概4年后，我因为有一个因缘回马来西亚，然后一回到那里的时候呢，法师就要求我开课教那些青少年的，因为那时候冲法师他也是常常回马来西亚教这些年轻的男孩，因为要引领他们走对的路，但也说你既然回马来西亚，你要给他们，我把他们交给你，你要好好的教这些年轻人。然后那时候就要开课，然后他们其他比丘尼就跟我说，跟他们讲楞严经好一点。 就给他知道正法。那我就随顺，好，我就讲楞严经。那因为我虽然说专制进度便秘为期，可是那种因缘到了，我就还是要去讲楞严经。所以那时候我就办了8次的楞严讲习班，就每年他们大学那时候 college 就是大学学院呢，他们1年有3次假期，所以他们就来庙要求我们给他们一个 retreat， 他们住在庙7天，然后就要学楞严经，然后我就给他们讲楞严经，每一次不同 topic。第1届是讲4种清净明慧，第2届呢就开始讲50阴谋，第3也是50阴谋，然后后来还讲25言通章啊，总共8次的楞严讲习班。讲完楞严讲习班之后呢，就又有新的一批学生又要求法师可不可以给我们讲那个华严经呢？就要学变成我又要办华严研习班哦，所以就变成那种众生的需要，我们就一定要去做，所以就又讲楞严经，又讲华严经，就特别给那些年轻人的。然后，但是道场呢，如果是有这个华严法会的时候，我也是会在每一支香休息的时候，如果因为我们有唱42字母嘛，所以有时候那支香很短，我们就有休息时间超过半个钟头，所以我就可以在休息时间就介绍一下哦，刚才我们念的什么经文，我觉得很好的，我就会分享给他们听。有时候晚上对，晚上有开讲，就是这个华严经，我有讲过民法品啊、理事精品啊这样子的 topic 给他们，就是因为这样子熏学了。看不到了。
I'll translate first while we're figuring out the screen. So at that time, I want to focus on the cultivation of the Pure Land, and that was 4 years. So when Dhamma Masters asked me to lecture on the Shurangama Sutra, I thought it opposed my vow. So I thought I should specifically focus on Pure Land from now until the end of my life. So I only bow to Amitabha. When I lecture, I only lecture on Amitabha Sutra too. So I had superficially interpret these 2 lines, specifically focus on the Pure Land and from now until the end of your life. So 4 years later, I had the cause and condition to go back to Malaysia. So one of the Dhamma Masters asked me to to give classes. That was Dhamma Master Chong. She went back to Malaysia and would teach the boys there. And he said, since you're back in Malaysia, I will hand these young people to you. You should teach them Buddha Dharma. So the nuns there told me, oh, since they are young people, you should teach them Shurangama Sutra. You should teach them the proper Dharma, the right Dharma. So that was, the cause and condition were such that I end up lecturing on the Shurangama Sutra 8 times. So it was the kind of the Shurangama Sutra retreat. So at the time they were college students and they had 3 vacations or 3 holidays or vacation. At that time, every time was 7 days. So we would do a 7-day retreat, and they said they want to learn the Shurangama. So I think the first time I lectured on the 4 kinds of pure, inalterable instructions in the Shurangama Sutra. The second and third is the 50 skandha demon state. The 4th time was 25 stages, their perfect penetration. Altogether was 8 retreats. And then after I finished with them, new students came and they said, can you please lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra for us? So then I have to do the Avatamsaka Sutra retreats. So because of living beings' needs, this is what I have to do. I had to lecture on the Shurangama Sutra, I had to lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra for these young people. And then also when we have the Avatamsaka Sutra recitation Dharma assembly, let's say if that particular chanting period is short, let's say we have 30 minutes in between, I would introduce to these participants what we just chanted in the chapters on a lecture on the clarification of Dharma chapter, a lecture on the Living the World chapter. So because of their causes and conditions, I was able to study the Avatamsaka Sutra and lecture for the students. Can people see now?
OK， 重点要讲的就是说，如果你只是以为专注进度并命为期，好像就只能够讲进度，就不能讲其他大乘经，这个就很肤浅啊。因为呢，既然你发了上品的愿哦，你就有那个因缘。就像我发了上品的愿之后，4年后就给我有机会讲楞严经啊，讲华严经这些。我就是因为讲了华严经，我才知道我多么漏劣。因为我们每次在哪里修行都是一样的啦，都会遇到一些不顺的境界，然后我们眼睛都是看人家做的不对，然后就觉得我不要跟这些人在一起，我要走了，我要换地方。多数人都会有这种的看人家的缺点，但他不知道自己很漏劣。我那时候给自己讲，我在最后一次 testing， 如果这一次还是不行，我就要搬了，又要换地方。可是就这样的一个因缘呢，我读华严经早上做维农的时候，给我读到卷58，哇，那个10种清净师、平等师、不减众生故、随意师、满其所愿故，我那天做维农特别奇怪，我怎么念了那么多年华严经，从来没有注意这一段文，可是那天一念到了的时候，我吓一跳，我说原来布施还有10种的布施，不是这么简单的。我以为就是法师、无畏师，有没有3种师嘛？法师、无畏师、财师嘛。然后你知道不是的，是有详细的内容在教导我们。所以我那时候呢，一看到这个我就动了一个妄想，我说那我这一次华严法会，就是华严法会之前念的这一卷嘛，我就说华严法会的时候我一定要讲这个离世间品。就这样准备 PowerPoint 然后讲了离世间品的时候，一讲到平等是不减众生故，我马上在讲的时候就看到我自己的缺点很严重啊，我才知道我多么的漏劣，一点都不像那个离世间品里面菩萨摩诃萨的那么高尚的那种心，志愿跟心量，我就觉得说原来是我自己没有平等师，不要讲到什么随意师啊，其他师更不用说了。所以以后就知道不要看别人的不对，自己本身就很漏劣了，你要 upgrade 自己才对。那时候就有这样子的一个很深的体会。那所以我要讲的就是说，这个上品上升，这个你发了这个愿就有因缘给你深入这个华严经，你才会知道上品生的人是必须要发菩提心修诸功德嘛。因为发了这个愿以后，也有机会讲无量寿经嘛，讲了无量寿经之后，你才会知道说，哇，原来阿弥陀佛他摄受众生往生极乐世界有发了48大愿，其中3个愿是什么方法去极乐的？有3个你看，第19愿是摄受上品的人去，就是十方众生发菩提心修诸功德，自心发愿欲生我国灵寿终时，假令不与大众围绕现其人前者，不取正觉。就是说，阿弥陀佛知道十方世界有的已经是大修行的菩萨们，有的是一个高深大德，他们所做的一切念念都是在发菩提心修诸功德。就像净恒品所说，他遇到人家不恭敬他没有生气，他还说不得恭敬，当愿众生不行一切不善之法，这样子来去面对。完全没有一个我相在起烦恼那一种，所以这种人遇到困境，他也是发菩提心修诸功德，他发愿给一切众生，不行一切不善之法。像这种人，他要去极乐，他只要发愿要去，他就上品了。临终一定很多化佛、菩萨、阿罗汉，甚至也有比丘，很多来接引的，那是上品的人，必须活着的时候就要时时发菩提心修诸功德。那如果呢，你没有发这种菩提心，你只是被10大愿所摄受，下品乃至于上品下生都可以。但是这个就是最慈悲的愿第18，它是可以摄受下品下生的人的。就是说，有些人呢，我就是看到净土圣贤录，有些人是一辈子杀鸡的，可是他临终就有善根发现，看到很多鸡来， 就是啄他的身体，他痛得不得了。他跟家人说：“赶快帮我请一个法师来帮我助念吧。”他就会有这个善念，请出家人来救我。所以他家人呢就请了一个法师，那个法师又是净土法门的，就跟他劝哦，说：“你不要怕，你不要怕，我帮你念佛，你也要跟着我念。然后呢，你要发愿去极乐世界，阿弥陀佛18愿摄受乃至10念就可以带你去，你就跟着我念吧。”然后那个人呢，他就很诚心念南无阿弥陀佛，他只念一声，所有的记忆就不见了，然后就看到阿弥陀佛来了，他就往生了。你看这个是什么摄受？就第18愿摄受他没有修善，但是他就有一个大善根，因为临终念得下阿弥陀佛，相信阿弥陀佛的本愿可以救他，他就那一个很强烈的信心，而念了10年一样去极乐世界。但是他品位是下品的了，不用说了，对吗？那所以我们是出家人，我们要发菩提心，修诸功德，求取上品。今天是一个 discussion 啊。
So if I just interpret, I will specifically focus on the Pure Land Dhamma door and to the ends of my life. This is really a superficial interpretation because I had made vows to be born in the upper grade of lotus. 4 years later, I had the opportunity to lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra and Shurangama Sutra. And only after I have studied the Avatamsaka Sutra did I know that I myself, my mindset is very lowly and very ugly because I only see other people. I always look outside and see other people are making mistakes, always see other people's fault. And I thought, I don't really like these people. They are so terrible. I don't want to stay with these people. I want to leave. But I thought, well, I'm going to test this one more time. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to move out of here. So in row 58, I remember that day I was reciting 10 kinds of pure giving. It was giving of impartiality, giving of purity. Giving of impartiality talked about not to pick and choose on living beings. And there's also the giving that accords with living beings' needs. So after I recited this section, I didn't really know, wow, there are actually 10 kinds of giving. Because normally we only know 3 kinds of giving, right? Giving of dharma, giving of wealth, and so on, or giving of fearlessness. How would we know all these details about this kind of pure giving? So this content really touched me. So then I thought, wow, this is really impressed upon me. And so if we have Huayan Fahui, we have Avatamsaka Sutra recitation, I want to lecture on the Living the World chapter. I feel, upon reflecting from the sutra text, I feel I myself are very lowly, very ugly, because I don't resemble the lofty mindset of the bodhisattvas. I only know the mistakes and the faults of other people. So I wanted to upgrade myself after such reflection. So I made vows to be born in the upper lotus, in the highest grade of lotus. Then because of that, it helped me deeply enter the study of Avatamsaka Sutra. Because if you want to be reborn in the highest level of the lotus, you need to really make your Bodhi vows. You need to make Bodhi resolve. You need to cultivate all kinds of merit and virtue. And then later I had an opportunity to lecture on the Infinite Life Sutra. And of course, Amitabha Buddha made 48 vows, and there are 3 ways that you can be born in the land of ultimate bliss. So what you see now here is the 19th vow. It says, if when I attain Buddhahood, living beings of the 10 directions who bring forth the Bodhi mind, cultivate various meritorious virtues, single-mindedly make vows, and wish for rebirth in my land, should not, upon death, have me appear before them surrounded by a great assembly. May I not attain right enlightenment. So this is people who are cultivating the 19th vows are born in the highest lotus grade. These are bodhisattvas, these are eminent monks, these are great virtuous ones, because in thought after thought, they would make Bodhi resolve, they would make Bodhi vows. When I see people disrespect me, I vow that all living beings will not practice any unwholesome dharma. So this is how they deal with problems. They make Bodhi vows to deal with their problems. They don't really have an ego. They don't have afflictions. This is how they make Bodhi vows to shrink their ego. So when we encounter a position, unfavorable state, we should make vows and then cultivate all merit and virtue. These eminent monks, these virtuous ones, that's what they do. So as soon as they make transference, they are reborn in the highest level. So at the end of life, there would be a lot of transformation. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas come to guide this person to the Pure Land. But if you had not made Bodhi resolve or not making Bodhi vows, you can still go, but you are gathered in by the 18th vow of the 48 vows. You are born in a lower grade. And this is said to be the most compassionate vows that Amitabha Buddha has made. Because some people, according to the Pure Land records of sages and worthy ones, somebody at the end of their life, they've been killing chicken lots in their life, and at the end of life, lots of chicken come to peck their body or their head, and he was suffering a lot. So he asked his family, can you please ask a Dharma master to come to rescue me? And it happened that this monk who came, specialized in the Pure Land Dharma door, he said, okay, no need to be afraid. The 18th vow will gather you in. You just recite Amitabha Buddha's name 10 times. You just follow me in your recitation. Just follow my recitation. And so because this person upon death was so sincere that he recited Namo Amitabha Buddha just once, then he saw Amitabha Buddha come to him, and he was reborn in a land of ultimate bliss. So 18th vow will also gather you in, because this is the great compassionate vows that Amitabha Buddha has made. You can be saved just within 10 recitation, but that is the lowest grade or the lower level. We are monastics. We have left the home life, and I really exhort you to seek rebirth in the highest grade. Okay, that's the summary.
给我们现在回向。
The transference.
愿以此功德庄严佛净土，上报十重恩，下济三途苦。若有见闻者，悉发菩提心，尽自以报身。 同生极乐国，顶礼老和尚。南